Jayda Coleman's walk-off home run lifts the Oklahoma Sooners, putting them into the championship series for the 5th straight season.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. My name is John Williams. You can follow me on Twitter at John9Williams. The show is at Locked On Sooners. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Hit that like button, that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. But the Oklahoma Sooners heading back to the Women's College World Series Championship Series, where they'll face the Texas Longhorns. This is the 5th straight year that the Oklahoma Sooners have played in the finals, and looking for that elusive, never done before, 4th straight national title. They're just one of 2 teams all time to win 3 straight, and now looking to set themselves apart from the rest of college football's blue bloods in a way. But man, what a game it was. This was an emotional game. If you followed, other Sooner fans on social media, you had friends, people were just racked with nerves throughout this one. As it did not start off well for the Oklahoma Sooners. They got down 5-2 after 3 innings. Kelly Maxwell had allowed 3 home runs in those first 3 innings. But the Oklahoma Sooners, they got the 2-run home run from Ella Parker in the first. And then in the 4th, they got a 2-run bomb from Sydney Sanders, just her 2nd home run since April 16. And what a clutch home run it was for her. And then in the 6th inning, Avery Hodge gets the double. And then Ella Parker once again comes through with an RBI single to tie the game. And it was just one of those performances that Oklahoma just found a way. They had opportunities throughout at different times, and what had kind of been a bit of an issue, if you want to even call it that, is just leaving runners on base. They had a lot of opportunities where they could have cashed in and just couldn't come through. And a credit to Rothrock, the Florida pitcher. I mean, she battled throughout this game and kept Oklahoma from being able to do what they wanted to do. There's a reason why Rothrock had 33 wins this year. Yes, she threw a lot. Yes, she pitched a lot, but she's also pretty good. She's pretty stinking good. And yeah, that volume kind of leads to some of her numbers being a little bit skewed, but I mean, she pitched the Oklahoma Sooners really, really well the last couple of days. But Oklahoma just kept chipping away. And then, Jayda Coleman in the bottom of the 8th inning hits the walk-off home run to send Oklahoma to the championship series. Just an incredible way to finish that, and an incredible way to get that victory to propel you. This has been a team all season long that at times, you could argue didn't look like a dominant Oklahoma team. But with the veteran leadership that they have, the experience that they have, the success that they have, the ability to rely upon all of that, it gives them an edge over pretty much everybody, because they don't have to be at their best to still win softball games. They don't have to be, a dominant team to still be able to come through in the clutch. And I think for a lot of fans yesterday, it felt like, okay, maybe this was kind of coming to the end, and not in a way that was like frustrating but just matter of fact, all good things come to an end. All dynasties end. It happens across sports. But the Oklahoma Sooners showed us one more time that they've got the magic, and they were not ready to let the dynasty end yesterday in Devon Park against the Florida Gators. And again, just an absolutely incredible performance. You got these great performances out of kind of the unsung heroes, or maybe not the seniors of this team. Yeah, you got the walk-off home run from Jayda Coleman. But other than that, I mean, it was Ella Parker with a 3-for-3 day and 3 RBIs. It was Cassidy Pickering going 2-for-3 with a walk also. And then you had Sydney Sanders with the 2-run home run. You had Avery Hodge going 2-for-4. I mean, Alyssa Brito was just 1-for-4. Tiara Jennings 1-for-3 with a walk. Kinsey, she had an over day with a walk. And so it just showed the depth on this team that even when your best players, the Tiaras, the Alyssa Britos, Kinsey Hansons aren't having the best game, you could have other people come around them and step up. And that's what's so important about the way Patty Gasso's built this team. Yeah, there's a lot that's put on that senior leadership, but you got to have everybody else step up too. It can't all just be on them. And it wasn't yesterday. And that's so awesome to see. I mean, Ella Parker, 3 for 3 day, has the scary collision at second base, then comes back and gets the RBI single just a little bit later in the game. Just awesome. Just an awesome performance from a true freshman that you look at that and you look at what she's able to do and what she's been doing all season long. And you think, okay, even when Tiare's gone and Kinsey's gone and Jayda's gone, Alyssa Brito's gone, we're going to be in really good shape with Ella Parker, with Cassidy Pickering, and Maya Bland, with the other freshmen that they've got coming up, and with what they've got in the recruiting class as well. Yeah, you're gonna lose a lot, but you still got a lot of talent on this team, and I can't wait to see just how this continues to build, because anything's possible with this team. Anything is possible with this program. It's really easy to get down on a game and get down on a performance, on an at bat, on an inning, but they just go to show every single time that they still have what it takes to surprise us, to create magical moments like they did yesterday with Jayda Coleman's walk-off home run. It just barely got over the outstretched glove of the left fielder for Florida, but it got over. And that's the part that mattered. And that's the part that sends Oklahoma onto the championship series. And, you could see at times the frustration, you could see at times the worry building with this team. And Jayda Coleman just kind of let it all go. Alyssa Brito, she prayed over Jayda Coleman there at the end. And as a believer, I'm not one that sits here and says, God, favors one team or another, but I know that prayer helps, and prayer can help people kind of find peace before they go do something. And that moment that Brito and Coleman shared before the at bat, obviously it helped Jayda Coleman just kind of recenter herself and find her foundation. And she even talks about it after the game, where just knowing that her foundation is not in what happens with this at bat, that her security is not what happens, whether she strikes out, hits a home run, whatever happens, she knows where her security lies, and it's not in her performance in the game of softball. So just a really, really cool moment, really cool day. You could see the emotion on Jayda Coleman's face as she rounds the base. She gets around second base and I think finds Patty Gasso and just starts tearing up, hands reach to the sky. Just incredibly overwhelming. You could see, the reaction from Sooner Legends on X, where they're talking about, just the emotions they feel as well, whether it's, Kalani Ricketts or Jocelyn Allo, Lauren Chamberlain, just all of them just feeling a certain kind of way about what happened. And, again, just another magical moment that Oklahoma has provided in Oklahoma City, now at Devon Park, used to be USA Softball Stadium, but it's crazy. Yesterday when, watching the game, you just kind of at a loss for words. It was one of those roller coaster rides that we've all been through at different times. And over the last 2 seasons, Oklahoma hadn't faced an elimination game, but in this one, early on, it looked like they might. But they lived to fight another day. And a big reason they were able to fight another day is because of Kelly Maxwell. We got to talk about her performance coming up next and just start getting ready for Oklahoma, Texas one more time, because this is going to be a phenomenal championship series. I know a lot of people are going to be thinking that it's the Texas Longhorns' time to cut through and break down the Oklahoma Sooners dynasty, but don't count out them Sooners, not just yet. We're going to talk more about Kelly Maxwell coming up next. Also, we're going to get into the ESPN Football Power Index update for 2024 and what that means for the Oklahoma Sooners football program coming up on Locked On Sooners. Hey, if you're trying to get to Devon Park tonight to go watch the Women's College World Series Championship on Wednesday night, there are still great seats available. And hey, you can go to Gametime, download the app on your app store or the Google Play Store, and get $20 off your first purchase over at Gametime. The best thing about Gametime is you can get the best last minute deals and tickets available all through the Gametime app. It's a great app. I also love the idea that you can see what you're going to be looking at from your seat. So you're not going to have to worry about, am I going to get an obstructed view? Am I going to be sitting in a corner that I'm not going to have a great line of sight to what's happening on the field? No, you get all the best views and great features by using the Gametime app. So go download the Gametime app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. Download the Gametime app. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed over at Gametime. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also, subscribe to Locked On Sooners here every day, all off season, June, July, getting ready for the football season. We're going to talk softball the next few days as well. Just continue to react to what happens in the Women's College World Series. Kelly Maxwell, what a performance. It didn't start off very well. She'd tell you the same thing. 3 home runs in the first 3 innings. Oklahoma gets down 5-2. You get the 2-run home run by Ella Parker in the first that kind of helps keep you in it, keep you within striking distance. But man, it wasn't going well. And it wasn't like she was making a lot of bad pitches. Even the final solo shot, it wasn't a bad pitch. Left a little bit inside, but the Florida hitter just turned on it and was able to send kind of a screamer over the left field wall. Use that wind a little bit. The wind was blowing out to the left, and that helped that for sure. But Kelly Maxwell then turned it on. She found a different level to her game and was totally a different pitcher the rest of the game. Threw 148 pitches to beat Florida in 8 innings and, found a way. She was much better over the final 5 innings, still had a few walks, still allowed some runners on base, but then didn't allow a single run the rest of the way. And that is the performance that you needed out of your veteran ace. That's what you were looking for when you brought Kelly Maxwell in from Oklahoma State. Has she been as dominant as maybe you would have liked? No. But she's been really, really good, and she gave you a chance to win yesterday. Would you have liked the game to start off better? Sure. But that's a really, really good Florida offense that's put up some incredible numbers this year. I mean, Jocelyn Erickson, the former Oklahoma catcher that transferred this last offseason, she's got 80-something RBIs. And they have a number of players with double-digit home runs. This is an offense that looks eerily similar to an Oklahoma offense. And we're doing Oklahoma things to the Oklahoma Sooners. The 9-3 win to force the elimination game from Monday. And then you get this one where they just jump out to a quick early lead. And, it took a really, really strong performance over those final 5 innings by Kelly Maxwell to get Oklahoma in an opportunity to have a chance to come back and win it. You don't win that game unless Kelly Maxwell flips the switch and turns it on over the final 5 innings. From the 4th inning on, didn't allow anything, didn't allow a run. Her line, it looks kind of sloppy. 8 innings, 4 hits, 5 walks, 8 strikeouts. It's not what you'd expect from Kelly Maxwell. But what you got over those final 5 innings is what you get from Kelly Maxwell. It's that veteran ability to forget what happened in the first 3 innings and flip the script on that game. And if she doesn't do that, we may not be talking about Oklahoma heading to the championship series, because she had to do that in order for Oklahoma to win that game, because Florida, again, was threatening. Florida was putting pressure on the Sooners. Florida was keeping Oklahoma under, at arm's length. Based on what they had done on Monday, what they did to start the game on Tuesday, it looked like Florida might run away with this thing. And then Kelly Maxwell just said, nope, done. I love the quote that she shared. She's like, I had to find my fight, I had to battle. And she did. She did just that. And going into the championship series, you got to wonder how much she's got left after, throwing a great game against UCLA in the 1-0 shutout, throwing the 8 innings, 148 pitches against Florida to get the win there in extra innings. you're gonna wonder. She's probably not going to go Wednesday night. She's probably going to get the off day. It's going to be some kind of rotation or pitcher by committee situation in game 1 against Texas. Probably Nicole May gets the start. Hopefully it goes a little bit better for her. Again, Nicole May has been really good this postseason. Got roughed up a little bit a few games ago, but this is still, against Florida, got roughed up, and it's a good Texas offense that is going to put pressure on her early and often. But she showed that she can be a dominant pitcher when things are working right. But it's going to take Oklahoma's bats, getting more aggressive and staying aggressive against the Texas Longhorns pitching staff. I mean, you're going to get strikes. You're going to be able to have to hit them, and not every pitch is going to be perfect. You're just going to have to be able to make something happen with the pitches you get. But Oklahoma goes into the series, against Texas. Texas kind of, for the most part, skated through the Women's College World Series. They took care of business against Stanford, got the 1-0 win there. They beat Florida in a 10-0 run rule shutout a few games back. The Longhorns are looking good. But you got the Oklahoma Sooners, who are as good as anybody in the history of softball. Right now, they're one of just 2 teams to ever three-peat and, 5 straight championship series appearances and looking for that 4th straight national title. And I'm not going to doubt them. I'm not going to expect anything less than Oklahoma's going to win this thing. Whether it's in 2 games or 3 games, I have no idea. But I just get the feeling, and I have this belief that Oklahoma's just going to find a way. They've done it for so long at this point that why wouldn't you expect them to just find a way? They're a resilient team. They're a veteran team. The performances that they got in the Florida series, or the 2 games against Florida, I expect we're going to see some bounce back performances or some continuation of what we've seen from people like, Sydney Sanders or Avery Hodge. Avery Hodge, 2 for 4, had some big at bats. Sydney Sanders had some big at bats for the Oklahoma Sooners. And I expect Tiara Jennings and Kinsey Hansen and Jayda Coleman and Alyssa Brito to kind of find their groove a little bit against the Longhorns. Remember, this is a team that beat Texas in the Big 12 championship 5-2 to win the Big 12 tournament. They split the season series with the Longhorns. 3 of those games were down in Austin. Now Oklahoma gets the Oklahoma City advantage. There's going to be a lot more Oklahoma fans in Oklahoma City tonight than there will be Texas fans. So we'll see. Can they overcome the home field advantage that Oklahoma has? And yeah, it's an advantage. Of course it is. But we're not going to apologize for that. Oklahoma City's invested to have the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. So Mike White, sorry about you, man. You're going to have to get over it. But it's going to be a fun series, man. This is going to be one that I think goes 3 games. I really do. And I think Oklahoma is going to have just enough to come through and get that 4th straight national title. But even if they don't, it's been one heck of a ride, and I can't wait to break down the rest of the Women's College World Series with you. It's going to be a fun 3 days up there at Devon Park. If you're able to get out there, I look forward to seeing your reactions and your thoughts on Oklahoma softball the rest of this week. We'll only get a few more games to watch these seniors play. They've had a magical career. It's been so much fun to watch them play the game of softball, help grow the game of softball, and especially just obviously the winning. Everybody loves the winning, but watching them go about the game the way they go about the game is just a lot of fun. And that's part of what's helped the game grow so much over the last few years. The ESPN Football Power Index released its update for the 2024 season. What does it say about the Oklahoma Sooners, and what does it mean for the SEC? Coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Hey, the Oklahoma Sooners still sitting at that 7.5 line for win totals. Still loving that over, man. I just can't imagine Oklahoma winning fewer than 7 games or fewer than 8 games this season. It's a team that just looks really, really good. Even that week 1 line against the Temple Owls It just looks really good. I think Oklahoma's going to come in and make a statement early on in this one. They're against Texas right now. They're sitting at 8.5 underdogs. Do we really think the Oklahoma Sooners are 8.5 point underdogs? I don't. I think this is going to be a really good team with a lot to prove this year going into the SEC. Go to FanDuel.com, use promo code locked on, FanDuel.com/locked on to get in on the action. Again, FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on and make every playoff shot count. Again, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The ESPN Football Power Index is a predictor of future success and obviously updated for the 2024 season. They run 20,000 simulations over there using their computers to get a predictor of a team's performance going forward for the rest of the season. They also update it throughout the season as they get new data and they get new information based on wins, losses, performance, all that jazz. Well, the Oklahoma Sooners in the ESPN Football Power Index come in at number 8. That's the fourth best rating in the Football Power Index, behind obviously the Georgia Bulldogs, who come in at number 1, Texas at number 3, Alabama at number 5. The Sooners are sitting there in front of Tennessee at 9, Missouri at 10, LSU at 13, Texas A&M at 14. So the SEC, very much a player in the top 25, and the Oklahoma Sooners are right there in the thick of it. We'll see how they respond to a different challenge in the SEC. We've talked about it at length this offseason. Is Oklahoma going to be ready? Are they going to have the talent to perform against some of the top competition in the SEC? I mean, you looked at what's on the schedule for the Sooners, and Alabama, Texas, Missouri, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, all within the top 16. Auburn, number 19 in the ESPN Football Power Index. So there's a lot of programs that Oklahoma will contend with that ESPN thinks are pretty powerful programs. They're going to be teams in the mix for the top 25 for most of the year. And that's just what Oklahoma's going to have to deal with. But Oklahoma is going to be a team that everybody else has to deal with too. It's going to be a team that Alabama, hey, you want to get to the SEC championship game? You got to go through Oklahoma. LSU, you want to do the same? You want to make the college football playoff that last week of November? That might be a playoff entry game. You're going to have to go through Oklahoma. Missouri, you think you're all that? You think you're back? You think you are this? I say back. You think you're this team that all of a sudden is going to be a national title contender on a regular basis, or a 10-win team on a regular basis? Well, you're going to have to prove it against Oklahoma. Ole Miss, you were dominant in the transfer portal. Lane Kiffin with the portal combat. You got to go through Oklahoma too. Auburn, you're going to have to go through Oklahoma. If you're trying to ascend from that, bowl eligible status back to playoff contention, you got to go through Oklahoma. So as much as we look at the schedule and think, oh man, it's tough for Oklahoma, all those teams got to go through Oklahoma too. All those teams are going to have to deal with an Oklahoma team and Oklahoma defense that is better than what it's been in the past. It's better than what it was in the first couple of years of the Brent Venables era. It's better than probably anything that we've seen aside from maybe that 2021 defense that was pretty good, but not dominant. I mean, how far back do we have to go to find an Oklahoma defense that was dominant or had the potential to be dominant? You got to go back a long, long time, because at every level of the Oklahoma Sooners defense, they've got big time playmakers, and they've got guys that are very, very talented that are going to be top 100 picks in the NFL draft. That 2021 defense was good, with Nick Bonito and Isaiah Thomas and Perrion Winfrey and Dellor and Turner Yell and Patrick Fields. That was a good defense, but it wasn't quite what this defense I think is going to be. From a playmaking perspective, from a pass rush perspective, from a run defense perspective, I think this defense is going to be it's going to be so much better that it's going to surprise a lot of people, especially in the SEC. And then offensively, I think that's also going to come as a surprise as well. I think offensively, you're going to see a team that is going to, put up 35, 40 points a game behind Jackson Arnold and behind a running game that's going to be really, really good from start to finish. It's not going to take half the season to get it going. And so where Oklahoma sits at number 8 in the ESPN Football Power Index, I think is a great place to start. And I think that shows just kind of, okay, Oklahoma probably going to be an 8 to 15 team in a lot of the polls in the preseason, whether it's the USA Today Coaches Poll or the AP Top 25. I think that's probably the range in which they'll sit, anywhere from 8 to 16, 8 to 15. But I think that's a strong starting place. And even if they're sitting back there at 20, I don't care. Oklahoma's going to get on the field and they're going to prove that they're going to be one of the better teams in the country this year and have a chance to contend for the SEC title and have a chance to contend for a playoff spot. All those things I think are going to happen. It's really easy to look at Oklahoma, look at the loss of Dylan Gabriel, who was a really, really good player, look at the loss of the offensive line and think that Oklahoma's going to take a step back. But it's like we talked about on the show yesterday that, Oklahoma's offensive line is going to be rebuilt. I know I mentioned a lot of names, but there's a lot of talent to go with those names. It's not just guys. They're not just dudes. How good has Bill Bedenbaugh been in the transfer portal in recent years? Wanye Morris started some for the Kansas City Chiefs last year. Walter Rouse got drafted. Tyler Guyton, first round pick. Chris Murray. He got some roster time. So Oklahoma knows how to find portal offensive linemen. Now it's just a matter of supplementing that or using those portal offensive linemen to supplement what you've got in blue chip offensive line talent as well. So yeah, I'm loving where Oklahoma's at right now in the Football Power Index. Again, it's a predictor. There have been times where Oklahoma was higher than this and it didn't work out in the Football Power Index. So they got to go win the games. The computers can't win the games for Oklahoma. The other kind of notable thing about this is Oklahoma and their win total projection set at 8.2. I talked about it with the FanDuel, the over under at 7.5. The computer believes they'll be over at 8.2 wins. I really think 8 wins is like the floor. And that's like, to me, that'd be kind of a disappointment. 8 wins. I'm still looking at this team as a 9, 10, 11 win team because you're Oklahoma. Anything lower than that and any expectation lower than that would be a disappointment, right? I don't care who you're playing. You're Oklahoma. You're expected to contend for conference championships, contend for national championships every year. There's no feeling out period. There's no easing into the SEC. You just got to go play football. You got to go win games. And the time is now. We can look to 2025 and think, oh man, that's really the time it's all going to come together and Oklahoma's going to contend. No, you got Danny Stutzman back. You got Billy Bowman back. You got to contend now. You got to go take it to him now, and you got to go win now. There's no building for the future at Oklahoma. Other notable things from the Football Power Index, the Oklahoma Sooners have a 36.6% chance to make the playoff, a 5.1% chance to win the conference, a 6% chance to make the national championship, and a 2.8% chance to win the national championship. Keep sleeping. Just keep sleeping on the Sooners, whether you're the human or the computer. Everybody's sleeping on Oklahoma just a little bit. And it's going to be so much fun to see how Oklahoma responds to the challenge of being slept on, being a team that's kind of flying under the radar a little bit as Texas gets all the hype and as everybody has all these high expectations for Georgia and Bama, Ole Miss, and people are, maybe bigger believers in Tennessee and Nico Iamaleava. Keep sleeping. Oklahoma's going to wake you up. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Again, free and available every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Also, go check out one of your favorite Locked On shows across the network, covering your favorite sports teams, whether it's the Dallas Cowboys, the Thunder, the Mavericks, the Dallas Stars, my favorite teams. You like the Yankees? We got Locked On Yankees. You like the LA Chargers? We got Locked On Chargers. We got Locked On Chiefs. Go check out another great, Locked On show somewhere here on the network. But also, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. I'm John Williams. Follow me on Twitter at John9Williams. You can also check out my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. Follow the show at Locked On Sooners on Twitter as well. And again, subscribe, like, hit that notification bell. But until next time, Boomer Sooner.